We just finished the last recording by emphasizing how important PowerTeacher Pro is and how much it matters that Canvas and PowerTeacher Pro are talking to each other and that you're taking your meeting attendance in PowerTeacher Pro. So again, beating the dead horse, PowerTeacher Pro is where it's at. PowerTeacher Access for attendance. Make sure your grades are syncing properly as well. We will have another session most likely to go over the sync between Canvas and PowerTeacher. So let's move on. What is the flight plan? Oh my goodness. Where are we stopping along the way? So the first thing I wanted to make sure you guys understood is the difference between the student and staff calendars, because I don't want this to cause any confusion throughout the school year with you and your students or amongst ourselves. So here we go. This is our student calendar. And what you notice if you're looking at the legend down here, that blue tells students and families when the quarter ends. If I look at that blue on the staff-facing calendar though, oh my goodness gracious, it's different. What? So the 20th for quarter one, the 20th is marked as the quarter end date for students. And the staff-facing, what? It's the 28th? Why the heck is that? That is because for students and families, we want them to understand that that dark blue date is when your gradebooks are closed. That's gradebook closeout day. No more grades for quarter one. No more grades for quarter two. No more grades for quarter three. And no more grades for quarter four. Gradebooks are closed on those days. However, on the back end, we staff know that things don't always go as planned. So you will have gradebook closeout day. We will have what I'm calling our bleeding heart time for all of those students that we wanted to give a slight extension to. And then we submit grade changes by the 25th. And then on the 29th, DRGA will present data about quarter one, and you'll see that that essentially is our pattern throughout. We have our gradebook closeout day, we have 2 days of bleeding heart time, and then we have our grade changes for the bleeding heart time done. So for you and your class, I highly recommend doing some backwards planning. If you are having your students write an essay and you know that grades are done on the 20th, I would not recommend that essay be due on the 19th because your grades are due on the 20th. So if you are having students write essays, you know how long it takes you to grade those things. Maybe it takes you a week. Maybe it takes you 2 weeks. But whatever mastery assessments you want to have in the quarter, consider how long it's going to take you to grade those things because those things have to be done and graded by the 20th. All right, so that's the major difference. We're making sure that students see the gradebook closeout date as the end of the quarter, whereas we all know on the back end there's a little wiggle room. Not a ton of wiggle room, just a teeny bit. Okay, so this is our gradebook closeout calendar. Oh no, low battery. Great. This is our gradebook closeout calendar. It essentially reviews for you each quarter when things are due. So this bleeding heart time, again, pre-identifies students that are granted extensions for coursework. So this is to account for the fact that we could have students out with quarantine. We could have students that have medical needs that come up or a family member passes away, something of that nature. This bleeding heart time is really to capture that. It's really to allow for that grace period for some of our students. Or you're working with a student and they had to do some revisions, they weren't able to meet your deadline, and you're giving them that grace period. This isn't for all of your students. This is just for a select few. So the majority of grades for Q1 should be final on October 20th, and then there's 2 days for this bleeding heart time, and then all bleeding heart time grades are due by the 25th, and we will present out on the 29th. And then 2 weeks from the gradebook closeout day, so the 20th, so 2 weeks from that day is when the incomplete grades are due. So again, the incomplete process is going to be run the same way it was last year, and you can see more details about the incomplete process here. Both of these documents are linked for you, and they're also available for through the DRGA resource folder on your Unicorn Herd tab. All right, I believe that's everything. So this is your boarding call. Here's my email, sremick@wlapcs.org. Please make sure to answer all of these questions. I'm going to send you an email with the deadline. But if I were to go back to my drive, as you're answering these questions and sending me that email, you go to Unicorn Herd, DRGA Resources, Grades and Reporting for Staff. What you'll notice in this folder is I have this gradebook orientation presentation, I have the tracker, I have our flight manual, I have that gradebook closeout calendar, and then I also have our flight status board. Here is where I will be tracking if you have submitted your email for this presentation, so you can see how you're doing, see if I got it, all that great jazz. So I look forward to getting your responses, and I look forward to answering any questions that you have resulting from this presentation. Thanks.